Greetings and salutations, Earthlings. Zube here, and I'm going to do a random collective reading. This is general, so take what resonates and leave the rest. If it doesn't vibe with you, that's a-okay. Don't force it to fit. If it doesn't, this reading is timeless. All of my readings are timeless by and large. So if you if this one doesn't feel like it's for you, then you are free to check out my other ones. Or there are lots of badass readers on YouTube. Maybe one of them is for you. We got the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is creativity, play, having fun, the spark of something new. Kind of it's a childlike energy. So when we get it as an adult, it's like, should I or shouldn't I? Before I started, I kept getting like the grass is always greener, or the grass might look greener, or there's something. So the wands are fire, that can be anger. Wow. All right. I see where we're going. Tower's on the outside. So we have internally, we have the Page of Wands, we have the spark of something. There could be a little bit of envy. That's what I was starting to say with the Page of Wands, because wands can be, it's fire, it could be anger. So there could be like envy or jealousy or insecurity. But really, this is like the spark of joy, or the spark of creation, or the spark of passion, or spark of creativity. But there's like an, am I doing it right? The grass is greener over there. And what's in front of us is the tower. The tower is anything with a faulty foundation, crumbling, which is always for the betterment. You've got to rebuild. You can't rebuild on a faulty foundation. So things might look really jacked up. And you're like, did I do that? So a little kid, so I see like a little kid building a tower with blocks, and they might cry, but really they'll knock it down and rebuild it again, to experiment with different ways to build their tower, their block tower. And they don't necessarily go like build it and be like, it has to stay that way. Sometimes they do, but not in my metaphor that I'm doing right now. Like they're like, oh, I'll rebuild it again bigger, I have better strategies now, like I'm learning. But as grown-ups, it's like we build something, and if it has a faulty foundation and it crumbles, we feel like a failure. And it doesn't have to be like that, like you can just try to do things. Or do something and maybe it didn't work that way, and then do something again. This is how we get trapped. So with the tower being on the outside of the Page of Wands, it's like, did I do that? Yeah. Maybe shit just didn't work out and it crumbled, but it doesn't mean that that's it. Like, this is play. We're here to play. Interesting. I'm thinking of, okay, ready. When I first moved to Texas, I had just gotten into manifesting, and it is a wild, wild story how I ended up living out here. I followed a bee. A bumblebee. Like, I applied for a job. I kept emailing and calling, and they weren't answering. So anyway, crazy. I worked on a ranch, and I was just thinking about this the other day. I had also read the 4 agreements and decided like not to gossip or be negative. The ranch that I worked at had goats and donkeys and all this, and it was really cool. but the people I worked for were extremely challenging. That's where I'm going to leave that. I never wanted to say anything about it, you know, but like, I mean, things that I had seen in my mind, or that when I was practicing using my imagination to manifest, like, I didn't even know that the ranch I applied at was, I didn't even realize it was like that they had animals or whatever. I was just going for a housekeeping job. And it turned out it was a goat farm. And I had been writing for months in my journal that I wanted to live somewhere with goats. So it was crazy. And then when I got there, and I was like, wow, I manifested this. And then the job was terrible, like terrible. I almost had to go home because of it, because they didn't pay me. It was in exchange for lodging. So I was sort of trapped there. But when I kept trying to get other jobs to make actual money to like pay things, they would call me. And anyway, so I ended up sneaking out at night. I got a job caregiving, and I would work all night, and then I would come back and work all day. And I did that for a month. Unfortunately, I got out of there. That was interesting, but the job was terrible. But I like, my meditation was on point. I really needed to go through that phase, but I remember I had a hard time feeling like I had to make it work because I manifested it. And then eventually I worked out, I was like, hold on. So if I manifested a cake, would spirit want me to just keep the cake and not eat it, you know? So it started me down this line of thinking of, well, the ranch job did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got me to Texas with a roof over my head. Sometimes they would have me not have a roof over my head so that they could rent out the room that was supposed to be mine. But anyway, God, that place was a mess. Anyway, it served its purpose. And even though I had manifested it and I hated most everything about it but the animals, didn't mean I had to stay there, you know, like I didn't like commit to working at a shitty place to work at. Like it, you know, it got me there. So the cake thing was what really did it for me. But here we might have been like creating something, and now maybe everything is a fucking mess and it looks like it's falling apart. It could be falling together. I wrote that in my journal the other day. I was like, I'm so grateful to the universe that everything in my life is falling into place. That's what I said. Maybe things are falling into place, but we can't see that right now. Yeah. So internal energies, external energies, and then up here I call the God spot, or spirit's point of view, like looking down, the Four of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles. That's funny, I accidentally said the four. The four is like building on a more solid foundation, you know, because you have four corners. But then in the eight, it becomes three-dimensional. So with the Eight of Pentacles, that's this spirit is looking down, like just keep going, keep working. Eight is putting effort into something and feeling good about it. Like, who cares what it looks like to the outside world? Do you know that you're doing your part? Are you, and maybe you're meant to like look at envy, you know, maybe instead of being envious, like creating, like just have fun doing whatever it is that you're doing. I've also been, I was talking to somebody the other day about this, being more intentional with what it is that I do. They mentioned like being grateful about the people that paying their bills was going to feed, you know, like the people that it was going to, that money was going to go to. So kind of setting intentions. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing the same thing whenever sometimes my to-do list will get kind of long and I'll be like, meh, done. And instead of being like that, because then like the energy of that, there's like no intention to it, or it's like, get this shit over with kind of energy, instead of taking a pause and writing or doing whatever it is intentionally and then sending it off with love. I've been working on that. So with this, it's like, don't let what you're seeing plant seeds of doubt, just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, that's what Spirit says. Let me grab one of these and then I might get some clarifiers. Okay. These cards are humongous. So I can't shuffle them. Even though I have man hands. I have huge hands. Giraffe. Visionary. Oh my God, yes. Rise above earthly matters. Glide through life with grace. You are able to see the right path. Stand tall in your self-worth and love with a big heart. Like, stand tall in your self-worth. Like little kids, I always think of like, with this childlike energy for the Page of Wands, they're like, yeah, I deserve that shit. Like, I want, this is when I was a kid, I used to go through and pretty much circle everything in the Sears catalog, which if you're younger than me, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But, I'm like, I thought I should get everything for Christmas, like you're just so certain. And I feel like maybe right now you need to be so certain, even though like your parents, Santa is broke as shit and can't afford everything in the Sears catalog, because we're not talking about your parents now. We're talking about God and the Spirit. Like, God will show up in your life, but this is where we have to have the faith of a child going through the Sears catalog and making their Christmas list, I did these weird ones the other day and I kind of liked it, so I'm going to pull them again. I'm going to look up what are potential obstacles and in what ways are we being helped. So we're going to do 3 for obstacles and then 3 for in what ways are we being helped. Oh. Obstacles, hope. It's kind of interesting. It could be the lack of hope, right? It could be a lack of hope. But it's also, the immediate thing I thought of was the difference between hope and knowing, So there's a difference between hoping and just knowing, just fucking know it. Like, things are gonna work out. And opposite, but also just, having hope. Like, if you're in general lacking like faith, at least have hope, sadness as a potential obstacle. Una mas. One more. No, that's way too many. That's way too many, but I'm taking the top one because, well, good grief. All right. Jealousy. That's one of the first things I said. Being envious of other people. Like, well, they got that. Well, you don't know the grass is greener. You really don't. You don't know what the fuck is going on with them. Misfortune. Taking stock of what's going on around you and thinking that like that's it, just because you're not seeing what it is that you want around you does not mean that it's not just the faulty foundation crumbling so that what you really desire can be rebuilt on solid ground. Lover. How do I take that one? And malady, sickness, not feeling well, not speaking wellness into ourselves. With the Lover card being a potential obstacle, maybe we are catering to what others want and need. Doesn't have to be a lover, but maybe, but like, okay, people want you to do certain shit because they, this is why I don't ask for advice, but because they either wish they had done that, like it's all about their own life for the most part. Like, you know, I surround myself by people who will tell me it's not even necessarily advice, but they'll really listen and not insert their own agenda into it. Like, well, I would do this or I would do that. Like, people are doing that because they need to know that the world is controllable, and whatever situation it is that you find yourself in, they could never get there because they're in control of the world. Like that's it. Like, why do I keep telling all these stories? It was like when my brother died and he was 44 and people would be like, well, he smoked. Like, well, you know what, you fucking asshole. Yeah, he smoked, but 44-year-olds don't just drop dead of smoking. Like, it's still fucking young and sad. So it's kind of like that, but like they need to find a reason that somebody 44 years old would die because maybe they're like 72 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? No, random fucked up shit happens in the world and we don't get it until we're dead. So I know you know, Eric, what's going on. But anyway, but yeah, with the Lover card, it's like under the guise of love, are people making you feel like you have to do a certain kind of thing? On top of it, you're feeling like this insecure, like kid, like, I think I know what I'm doing though. Do I? Talk to spirit. Like, don't talk to people who don't make you feel like you know what you're doing. I don't know. If you've hung out here long enough, you're probably smart, right? Because I want to qualify that. Like, don't do fucked up shit and then be like, I told you. But if you're in a position where you're like, no, I think I'm doing the right thing, but other people who love me are making me feel like I'm not, All right, what's helping us? What's helping us? Thief. Again, the other day I had the message of your enemy is your gift. Thief. What is helping us? I think it's almost like people are doing the most, and that is supposed to be helpful to you so that you can see the stark contrast in how you want to be as opposed to other people. And that's not to say that where other people are, like whatever, I'm a fucking human being. I sometimes judge where other people are, but I can always come back around to there's no judgment for where other people are. They are where they are in their journey. And with the card of the thief, it's like, instead of that making you feel like you're doing it wrong or whatever, you're not, because people are trying to steal from you. You know what I mean? Whether that's energy or ideas, or steal from your joy, or steal from your certainty, or steal from your faith, How are we being helped? Fidelity. Oh, it's a dog. By being in our faith, that's making me think of like spirit animal. And it's funny that it wouldn't focus on it either, because we might not even see our guides or our spirit team or whatever. But ask for signs, ask for help. Just know that you are surrounded. And if you don't feel like you are, ask for a sign that you are. And that's kind of for me. I did that this morning and I got a sign. It's like sometimes we feel like we're all in this judge. Like, it's out of your hands, dude. It's out of your hands. Leave the judging. It's not up to you, also, I mean, just be discerning about your judgments, be discerning about how you speak of others. Like, we're not fucking angels down here. And so it's never perfection that we're looking for. In AA, they say, like, progress, not perfection. To strive for perfection is a losing battle. But anyway, I'm going to get going. I hope you have a great day on Earth. If you are interested in a personal reading, my information is down below. And if you stayed here till the end, I really do appreciate you guys. Peace. Namaste.